welcome to the Dental Diaries podcast. This is Jessica Emery, and I could not be more ecstatic, more excited to have Caitlyn from Dental Hygiene Nation on today. She is the founder of one of my most favorite companies. I'm actually sporting one of your necklaces today, right? Like from your subscription box, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Love. I still have one of your boxes actually at home. I've been so busy. I haven't been able to open it, and I want to wait for the right moment to enjoy all of the things in it. But anyway, welcome. I just figured we would jump right in. There's so much that I want to know. And everybody, we were just saying how we feel like we know one another through conversations and social media, but we've never actually talked in real life.
Right. And that is just so crazy to me because I've been following your journey probably just as much as you've been following mine, that I feel so connected to you. And that's the cool part of the internet nowadays is you can be so connected in someone's business journey, personal journey, and just you feel like you know them and we've really never met in person.
I know, it's so crazy. And so I was just saying, I was like, my gosh, yes, I know you on the front line. You know, I always, like I said, I just, my gosh, what don't I have of yours? I am obsessed, love everything you do. And I'm so excited to hear where you started and your journey. But certainly she is my go-to for my workshops and anything and everything, gifts, oh my God, love everything you do. So can you go way back and tell us where this dream started? Because you were a hygienist, you're still a hygienist, but we're a hygienist. You don't practice anymore, right? You're far too busy.
Correct. Yeah. That was tough to give up, but I haven't practiced. It'll be 2 years, maybe even 3 years in November. I actually didn't even renew my license to practice. So that was even tougher to really just go full into the business. I love what I do every day. That it was a tough decision, but that's where my heart was leading me to go. And I'm still around all my dental family. That it's not that I left dentistry. I might not practice as a hygienist, but I'm still in dentistry. So here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And empowering, I don't know, women and doing all of these fun things. How did you even, was that a vision of yours way back when? How did that even start when you were practicing?
Yeah. So it actually started, the passion started in college. Where I was so excited to buy scrubs for my class, first day of clinic, here I go, I'm ready. I'm so excited to be a dental professional. And then at the store, they kept asking me, oh, are you a nurse? And I was so bummed because I'm so excited that I'm a dental hygienist going to school to be one. And it was just that was the first time I was asked that question. I didn't realize I was going to be assumed to be a nurse for my entire career if I was in scrubs. So that was it took me back. And then I went and bought scrubs, checked out. And then she asked me again, what hospital are you working at? So right then and there, I felt like I was I was a nobody. And as bad as that sounds, I felt like there wasn't a brand that was there that was speaking just for dental professionals, that was just excited for me to be a professional. As I was for myself, that right then and there, I was that I don't like that. So I wanted to create a space for dental professionals to come and celebrate their profession every single day, anywhere from assistant to front desk to dentist to specialist. I wanted to create a space where you were being talked to by the brand, and by talk to meaning it can be interacting, blogs, shared customer friendship, just funny posts on Instagram, Twitter, all those, to feel like you're not alone, because private practice is small.
Yep.
So to not have someone that you can talk funny struggles together, I wanted to create that little sense of community virtually amongst the entire world. So that's where my passion came from. I do have a background in art too, so that blended into, I wanted to be able to create things that didn't exist yet, while also providing a community for dental professionals. It really blended two of my dreams into one. And people ask me all the time, did you plan on doing this? And I say, no. And it's funny how when you dream about something so much, it's crazy how you end up manifesting that dream anyway.
Absolutely. Yep.
And the people that asked me the right questions along the way, I was skeptical, because you don't know if this is going to be a business or a thing. Like for a while, it was a side hustle for me. And then one person changed my life, and I will remember this man for the rest of my life. He said, I was thinking about going full time, and he said, why not?
Yes.
And that's all he said.
Yes, girl. Yes. Yes.
And that's really what was like, yeah, you're right. Like, why not?
You can always go back. Yeah.
We made more apparel, more accessories. That was when we started our scrub line, and the subscription came, and we're still evolving to this day. That I look back at that one person that asked me that question, and it changed my life. And it's crazy how one person's sentence can change your perspective of what you choose to do in your success.
I love that so much, because it is amazing. To your point, like dentistry is so, like micro, like people don't look at the macro view and take those kind of risks, which is why this has been so fun too. I love talking to women that started things that are side hustles, that are doing, they've become bigger, and they just have other passions, because I think many of us are multi-passionate. And you know, and you don't, like, dentistry is so rewarding, but it's exhausting, and I think, if you're I'm an empath, like the negative, if someone comes in and they're negative, like it's going to drain me even more, energy wise, so I come off of dental days sometimes like, woo, but I can step into my other thing, and then like, I'm back on fire, which tells you a lot. And like I said, listening to your intuition to step into that is huge. So I love that. I love that.
And if there's something that it can be anything. I mean, it doesn't even have to be artsy. You just have to find like what makes you happy. And it doesn't always have to be a side hustle either. I mean, the one biggest thing I read the other day was to also create hobbies that have no monetary value. Mm-hmm. So that's where you have to decide, do you want to turn this hobby into work? Because that's a tough decision to make. Or is it something that gives you so much joy that you don't want to monetize it because you enjoy it and you want to have that as your outlet from the draining day of dentistry? So it's like you kind of have to have both, but also decide, are you going to step into that monetary value of that hobby? Because once you go there, you can't go back.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I definitely stepped into everything I've done out of passion, full-blown passion, not ever looking at any monetary value, because, and you know what, even becoming a dentist, it had nothing to do with it. It was just my passion. I was a dental hygienist too. And, but where energy goes, like money ultimately will flow. And
yeah, that's the other point too. It ends up happening organically, and that's where people ask me, did you plan on doing this? No, I just loved to create funny posts and create t-shirts that people love to enjoy, that it ended up being, now it's my full-time job. So you always lead with love, and the business will always follow if you love it enough, because you will always be successful if you're passionate about it.
Yes, agreed. And I mean, that's the thing you just said too, is, I mean, obviously I've been on that fence, too, with like knowing if I stepped. So quarantine for me allowed me, because I could not practice dentistry and my hands were tied and I couldn't do it, allowing me to step in fully, 100, like running in like 110%, like in one thing. All of a sudden it was like, boom, just.
Yep.
And it's just, and so I kind of, hit that place too, where it's like, oh my gosh, like, let's listen to the universe, because you can always go back to that, right? You step in, because I can help more people. When you see people, like you said, you create a community and you're helping people, and someone says to you, I'm not tired anymore when I go to work, like, fed my soul, like, love language, all day, every day. And just, I don't know, I think I love that. And so I'm kind of where, like I said, you were with trying to make some big decisions on, listening to my intuition, which is saying, step in. And I know, and I'm not afraid, either. Yeah. It's, sorry,
you called a little bit.
I know, it's like in and out kind of. So you started with like some t-shirts, like you had a vision, you had some like fun, because some of your t-shirts that I just like put on Instagram or two, like, oh my God, your teeth. I mean, hysterical, right? Dental Dreamer, I love. I'm just trying to think. I have an entire rack here at the Sway Space of your shirts, because, you know, we photograph them a lot.
Yeah.
And I have them at home in my drawers too. I'm trying to think of some of your good ones. I mean, you can just keep changing them and evolving. Like, you always have different ones. Then people are like, I want the one I saw on your t-shirt. I'm like, they don't have it anymore.
I know. Yeah. And that's tough too, to constantly evolve. And, you know, it's, our returning customer is so high on our site that we have to keep our, you know, some standards for a while, and you have those for probably about a year is probably our max. Although we've had some running shirts that were here for like 3 years. One of our shirts that really put us on the map in the beginning was our messy bun shirt. It said messy bun, prophy paste, scrub pants, and tooth fairy or something. That one was actually a friend of mine suggested that saying. She actually cut my vinyl for a little while, and she suggested that, and it ended up being our top seller for 3 years straight. So sometimes you have those flukes, but we do like to bring in new stuff. I still design all of the shirts, so it's fun for me to also create new shirts. So that's my outlet, even though it is my full-time job. You know, running a business is more of my day job, and when I design, it's more so at night on the couch with a glass of wine. So I'm still able to keep it as a hobby a little bit and have fun with it, because I think letting your mind wander when you have no agenda to be creative, it's crazy how you have to create your environment to be creative for everything to flow properly. Because if you're jam-packed throughout the day, and that's exactly what dentistry is, you don't have a minute to think outside of each appointment. So I know how that is, that I just know I have to create a space to design, and I end up getting so excited, and it makes me excited for work again, because the daily grind, no matter what industry it is, especially in dentistry, I still get that way where I need something to fuel my fire. So it's just a lesson learned that I also want to teach to dental professionals is find your happiness, get that fire back, because we all lose it at some times.
Absolutely. Whether that's the gym, to your point, like, or crocheting, or, you know, whatever. I also think what I have learned or found in dentistry is that most all of us are crazy creative. I mean, I think that's why we got into this field. Yeah. So there is that little outlet. I think it's really important for people to find, and to take more time and not work yourself to the bone, and, you know, create
I don't know how you make time for all of your project. I seriously look up to your time management skills, because I believe in, it's not, I don't have time, it's you don't make time, and you are go, and I can tell you love what you do, and you just your passion inspires me to just keep going and keep creating new things. And I don't know,
thank you.
I don't know how you do it.
Oh my gosh, thank you. But to your point, I mean, that's where, you know, I'm stuck. If someone said step in, it's like, you know, it's like I've got all my little babies, and I love doing all of the things, but I also know that the creative, so like I said, dentistry I can do very, very well, and I love my people, my patients, my team. I have the best team, the space and everything, but the fuel to my fire too is creating new and different things and evolving, like I said, on this other side too. So that's why I keep stepping in and doing it, and it's all awesome. But I also know if I stepped in, I could go so much further, to your point, do so much more, touch so many more people. You know, like I said, that influence came out of me being asked and kind of begged over that time to step into that space. I couldn't say no. And you know what? It has been so rewarding for me. Because it's taking me back to when I started, and I love helping people see the things that they don't see, and score that treatment plan, and we get to celebrate it, and that's really fun too. I love when you open it up, there's so many other things, so many other places we all can go, even if it's in dentistry. You know, you just have to kind of be open to it. It is a lonely, to your point, career where that's why as well, Dental Girl Gang, trying to do the same as you with a community. Just a positive space for people to come and share, and not be talking about, you know, the negativity. You see so many Facebook groups, and it's all just freaking so negative. It's
oh my God, about Don't even talk about the Facebook groups. That was another reason I started DHN, was the negativity of people. You can't even ask a question on there and people make you feel stupid. It's like, how are you supposed to learn from each other when you're in private practice? What if you're the only hygienist there? You have no one to reach out to. You don't have a big sister that's like,
like
you have to reach out to internet. Like, I mean, you can like call your classmates, but at the same time, you can reach out to people on Facebook, but then they're mean to you. Well, you might be smarter than, you know, you might have seen more things or experienced more things. That why wouldn't you want to pass that knowledge down to that person? I don't understand it.
I don't either, you know, or like this patient was this, that, and the other. And what we've all found too is like, you don't know what is lying underneath why that patient even was like that. So just, and, you know, I can't, I have more important things to do and I'd rather be in a positive space. We decide. And, you know, so like I said, with that and celebrating other women doing incredible things and being there to support one another in a great, like positive way is everything.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, it's so good. So when you started your business, it was just you alone?
It was for a while. Yeah.
Like, how did you know to do the t-shirts? And like, how did you start?
This is a crazy story. So in college, I would design them, and I actually would do kind of like a Redbubble where you can design shirts and sell them, and they make them and ship them. So I literally would just upload a design. And that's when I first started on Twitter. I created a Twitter page in college, just tweeting like funny tweets. So then I was growing such a big following that I thought, hey, let's like make some fun shirts. I already liked drawing things too. I just put some of my tweets on shirts. And they liked it. So then I made more. And then again, that was like my outlet in dental hygiene school was like, I'm going to design another shirt. I'm going to design another shirt. So then more and more shirts came. And then when I graduated college, I made my first run of shirts myself, because obviously profits are a lot less when you partner with those third-party companies.
Sure.
And the numbers were there. The shirts were selling. So I already had feedback. So I remember my dad saying that my pap had a screen press, like a heat press, in the closet at my grandparents' house.
Oh my gosh, no way.
So I went and I'm like, I don't know if this thing works. So I went and checked it out. It was in the closet, like he said. And I don't know why my pap probably found it. He was a thrift guy. Like he loved thrift stores. He probably got it at the garage sale and thought, I'm going to use this one day. And it worked like a dream. And I actually used that press up until probably this year. I had to get a new one because the heating elements were going bad. So I made my first run of shirts on that press. And as I said, it's go time. So I put a shirt online and I said, if it sells, I made a website outside of the third party. And I said, if it sells, I'm going to do this. And it sold. I didn't promote it or anything. Someone found it. And it sold, and I said, okay, it's go time. So I made a first batch of shirts in my dad's house, and we were in my dad's house, moved from my spare bedroom to the basement, and then 3 years ago, we moved into an office. So that was kind of the evolution of, I started working by myself. I remember putting all my orders out on my living room floor around Christmas time, which is the ugly sweater was one of them. Our biggest sellers, and still is. Was
awesome.
Where I was packaging orders. I used to hand type the labels.
Oh my gosh.
So before I knew like label printers and like you talk about learning from the ground up, things that you just don't know exist yet.
Sure.
They were out there, but I was just, I have to type the shipping label that was on my platform. So I would put labels on all of them and take them to the post office. They'd scan them up for me. Then obviously I came into batch printing labels that I can buy from the post office. But it's just crazy when you look at how far you've grown to now. You forget those struggles seem like the end of the world then, and now we're dealing with other issues on a bigger scale, but you're always learning. You never stop.
Of course.
So it's just crazy to go down memory lane, and it's around 5 years that we've been in business. So it's kind of,
I was wondering how many years. 5. That's incredible.
So technically,
so you hit your tipping point at like less than 3. I mean, they say 3 to 5 for business.
Yeah. That's right when we got the office, because was on my own for a year and then established my LLC in 2016. And two friends of mine started working with me in 2016. So technically, legally 4 years, but myself, it's been 5. So
oh gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations.
yeah.
That's like so exciting. The friends that you took with you, were they from Dental Hygiene as well?
No, that's the other crazy thing. My friends knew what I was doing, and some of them were, questioning like, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you, not that they were against it.
Why
They
would
just
you leave $45 an hour to
exactly.
go make t-shirts?
Yeah, they like couldn't understand like why dental professionals would want a brand like that. Like they thought it was kind of just like something silly, like, oh, you're just a little, just making t-shirts in your house type of thing. And I'm like, no, this is gonna be big. You just wait. So my two friends really approached me about it. They saw my dream, they saw my mission, they saw the light that I saw. So when they came to me about it is when I realized I could do this, because everyone says don't work with friends, don't work with friends.
Right.
But they have been my most loyal employees over the years. My first employee just actually had her work anniversary this week, so she's a really good friend of mine. So having that trust and loyalty during a startup to go through the ups and downs with you emotionally and physically, that's when hiring friends kind of pans out in the positive side. And we get along great. We both mutually respect each other. I think as long as you set those standards from the get-go, is you're here to help the brand.
Right.
And we're friends after work, and we might have a disagreement at work. Let's talk about friendship things, because work is work and you're going to disagree. So I'm so thankful for the two friends that started this to help grow and expand faster than I ever would have by myself. And just to help to diversify the workload, because you can't take on more sales if you don't have someone to help push it along. So without them, I don't know where we would be. So,
well, no, I mean, you have to, I mean, as far as growth, and I think there's something so exciting in onboarding, I don't know, for someone with a startup, there's so much excitement in that, to see that growth. I feel like they're part of something from the ground up that's grown, and I didn't want to be invested for life in something like that. I think that's incredible, to be able to have. There's nothing better than somebody that gets you too.
I know. And it honestly makes work a lot easier and less emotional and stressful. And I'm a big believer in doing the Enneagrams and the personality. How you work, this is how I work. Like we all understand each other, and that's helps me find their strengths and weaknesses too as a boss. And then I'm so transparent of, if you're having a bad day, tell me, cry about it at work. I don't want you to hide it, because the minute you look upset, I'm going to think it's, work wise, and I'm going to feel like I need to help. So if I know you're just having a bad day, we'll talk about it. Head home for the day, have a personal day. Do you, because I need you to be your best self. And if you don't take time for yourself first, how can you be your best self? So I've learned a lot as a boss too, in addition to creating products, which is something I didn't really anticipate the bigger challenge to be in. Selling products and making products is the easy and fun part, but managing a team and leading a team and growing with my team, giving them the tools to be successful and being the best boss that I can be, that's been where the challenge is. And that's something I never imagined to be the harder part, but that excites me, because I like to be challenged. But running a business, managing a team are two different things.
Oh, absolutely. People, especially today, it's difficult. In today's world, I think it's become a lot more difficult, where everyone is, so dialed in, hyper connected, and and wanting to check on things there. Like everyone's got a little bit of ADD, because there's just so much going on everywhere, and telling people focus, or again, for me, it's the same thing as you, but like energy, I can feel it the minute someone comes in the door. If they're not on and they're not feeling it, it's like, all right, let's talk about it. And if you can't show up as your best self, then maybe you should, because everyone's going to feel it. It's going to affect everybody that day, including, our patients or whatever. So it's hard, and it's a big chunk as well, like you said, versus just having fun, of making sure they're taken care of. And when you have a lot going on, sometimes it's hard, because I know I just will be like, And I'm just like,
Yeah.
don't take anything personally. Like they know, thankfully, that my heart is bigger, that we need to keep moving. And there's only so many hours in the day to get that stuff done.
Right. And setting those boundaries with your team, because they might be too embarrassed to come to you, where it's like you have to check in with them. It's this the weird work environment of employees sometimes don't want to show a weakness that they need to talk about something,
Right.
where I might not see it because we're going 10 miles a minute, that it's not personal, like you said. It's just, you need to vocalize that to me, because I'm not here to find issues that you're having. I need to count on you to tell me, and I'm always going to be here to help, but you just have to tell me.
Of course. Yeah, totally. So you just have the two friends? Do you have anyone else?
We just went through a big business model change, COVID, which it's kind of a silver lining. So we had some management issues going on. My operations directors, that stuff didn't work out, and it was getting the operations were getting so big that I can't keep an eye on it. It's just, it's so demanding, and it requires a pretty big salary because of how detail intensive it is, that instead of rehiring an operations manager, we're now partnering with a warehouse to ship all of our products. So we were shipping all of our product. I was learning how to manage that type of team, and outside of, marketing and public relations. Now I have a labor team that I have to manage schedules, clock ins, clock out. It's more of a fast-paced team with high detail, and it takes a special person to not only manage that team, but to manage the operations of, are the packages here on time? Did the customers get the package on time? Did the product come in on time? Did the supplier send everything we needed to? So there's just all like a checklist that is probably 5 miles long. And I like operations, so I'd like to say I run a tight ship, because it's supply chain. You cannot make mistakes.
Right.
And I think it was a tipping point. I think we were too big to manage it ourselves. There's businesses out there that's their entire company is what they focus on, that we're too small to manage the operations, but not big enough to invest in our own warehouse with the right technology and the right software, the right team, the right facility, that we're going to outsource to a warehouse. And I couldn't be more excited with the team that I found.
Yay!
The warehouse that I found. They're super close, and they actually are now supplying our shirts also. So they're just a big family now, and they're like, attention to detail is there. The machines they have for the apparel are, the sky is the limit. We literally can do whatever we want now. So it was a really fun journey to learn that trade. And then now I'm so thankful that I can pick up the phone and say, how are things going over there? But you wouldn't appreciate it if you didn't have to go through those growing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. You wouldn't have, and you wouldn't have found them. And I agree with you. During that time, I think there was such a silver lining in it. So many of us found, like, that's incredible. You said, and now, because now too, like you said, extension of your family, now the company's probably just going to it can even explode more. But like I said, you keep coming up with like new different things. I know, even your Instagram account. I mean, yeah, I don't know how you do it all, and how I can't even imagine actually, on a week to week basis. And like now with your subscription box, even keeping that straight, when that goes out, who's going to give you, like, what's going to go in it, and
right. Oh yeah. And I'd rather spend more time and energy on deciding what goes in the box rather than shipping the box. So,
of course, yeah.
And that's where it started to take over that side of, what are we here for? We're here to make products. And if we're not having time to make those products and produce them, then what are we going to do? So the operations was definitely swallowing our creative side, because it's just a constant worry, and constantly worrying, did I send that order out? Like, things happen where stuff goes missing in the warehouse, and just constant fires that have to be put out, that you think about it 24/7. And when it's that was something I did in addition to everything I was doing, and making sure the manager was managing so I was managing the operations manager who was managing the team. So I was still involved because I had to check my manager, but constant worrying. That's all I can say about operations, constant worrying. So I'm excited
service, everything, customer service, making sure that's done. But like, to your point, even for me, when I was thinking about the subscription box for White Hot, it was like, oh my God, like where, so I was like, all right, we're going to start basic with Uline, bubble, like the best bubble envelopes that I like, and then tissue and like sticker, and how I know to do it with the note and the printing. But like at some point we're going to have to do the boxes. And I'm like, how do you, at first I contacted companies too, because I'm like, how do I have a vision, like a box like your box. I wanted it to be a designer box. And I'm like, how do I find it? And it was taking up so much space and energy. I was like, I can't, like, let's just freaking get the product launched, and we'll figure it out as we go, because there's a demand for it. So like, you just have to step in, and then, you figure it out.
And you do. And that's exactly it. You sometimes have to, I love brand packaging, and it's like, you could get down to the littlest thing is like what size millimeter tape you're going to use. Sometimes you just, when the demand, especially when the demand is there, I've learned to ship it out, and you can work on that packaging. But people don't realize that packaging is a whole other design team of product development and sourcing it. Where do you get it? Is that the best price checking everything? What design like developer, the software do you use? Because some companies like it in this file and some like it. It's not all designers design products or packaging. So it's fun. It's fun to create. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot. The reward is that much bigger too when you have this finished product, the packaging, and then it's being shipped out, and you're so proud of that because so many pieces went into it. But it's a lot of work for sure.
Oh my God, packaging speaks volumes, I think. At least I'm obsessed with packaging. When I get a package, and it's like pretty, which is why the palm tree box, like I haven't opened it yet, because I'm like, I need the right moment, like to really take the time to do the right opening and then look at what's inside. And I know like I'm behind, but like boxes, packaging, like it's how you feel, right? When you get that, it also makes you be a return client, customer.
Connected
as well.
If you ever need help with that department, I'm your girl, because I've probably researched top to bottom of how to go about like subscriptions. Another battle, it's just because you have to worry the consistency has to be there. So any questions you have, I'm happy to help you.
Oh my God, you're awesome. So I had signed up for I was supposed to go to Utah like right with COVID. I don't know, we came back from New Orleans, like I said, the world shut down. But like after that, I was supposed to go to Utah to a someone I had met, someone that was at Funnel Hackers Live in Nashville, that it was all about subscriptions and online subscriptions. And I was supposed to go, like I said, to Utah to do this. I was so excited to do this 3-day convention kind of thing and learn and everything. And it got canceled, of course. And now they've moved it online. So I just got this big box at home, and it says like open, August 3rd. It must be loaded with stuff. But the thing is, that's kind of sucky, is I'm going to be in Denver for a photo shoot for a client, because we're stepping back into that. Like people are like, are you scared to travel? I'm like, hell no, the world has to go on. Like you do all the things, like, right, we're as safe as we can be, but like I've got to keep moving. And so I'm going to miss. So I said to them, and of course the experience is never the same online, but at least I want to learn, right? And I had invested in this. And they're like, we're only going to give it to you for a week, a week after the thing. And I'm like, okay, you don't understand like my schedule, the kids, like everything. How am I going to get 3 days of full, lecture into my evenings around work and everything? Like, I don't know how. But
I have seen that with trade shows going live, is they only have it available for a certain amount of days. And I've always wondered what the feedback is on that, because that's nice. But then, because you can watch it within that week, you can make time for it. But like what if that week doesn't work?
I'm traveling, I can't. I mean, traveling, I'm already behind before I even step into the next things when I get back. Because when I do photo shoots, like I am like creative director. Like you can't. I don't see people around me. Like I am all in. We have 48 hours to knock it out of the park, and like I step in and that's it. So like no one can talk to me about anything else until that's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see. I don't know, the virtual thing. We'll see how it feels.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm going to make it work because I want to learn. I had bought some courses too online, like I think Founder, and whatever, to try to learn as well, this whole subscription thing, because there's something to it. And I want to make sure we do it very well. Like you said, there's always going to be the, you know, the things here, which is making sure, like I said, customer service is my number one. And I will probably be up at night. Like, did they get it? Did they receive it? Are they happy? Did we get feedback? And that one feedback of like, I didn't like it, or I want to return, is gonna like, you know, stick with me forever. I don't know why we sit with like the negative versus all of the crazy, insane positive that, you know, comes our way.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the other thing about being a business owner. You have to just kind of keep like swipe to the side and keep, you know, keep moving forward for sure. But I thought the online, you know, but online, and you know this, like there is something to online income and business and all that stuff too, which is interesting, since that's something that I've stepped into, you know.
The digital.
Well, just like with even the subscription boxes, it's like people value their time so much, and they would rather have something at their fingertips than take the time to come out and and do it. So, I mean, if you could package dentistry up in a box, like a CRAC tooth, like people would probably order it. I mean,
I know. That's such a good point. Not that it's okay, but they would totally, if they could have dental appointments at their house, I feel like people would pay for that.
Yes, right. Like even with COVID, because people have shit to do, like that's it, you know? So I don't know, like, it's fun. And I was just trying to think of, and I'm always like you, thinking of creative different ways to do things, right? It's like you have to keep, with any company, keep evolving and doing other things. And it's like, what do people need? What would people want? And step in. And maybe it does work, maybe it doesn't, but you don't learn that next thing unless something fails. Do you fly? So, you know, you kind of
and then preparing for, something, say, because trends are always changing, that if you're moving forward, then you at least have backup, that if that old trend fails, well, now you're already running at this new trend. So it's the way technology is evolving, and the need of a customer and a consumer, it's changing so much that if you don't evolve, you're going to be 10 steps behind than yesterday. I mean, it's crazy we do a lot of research on apparel trends, which is probably just as fast as technology. That's also something that keeps me up at night, is, are we on trend? Is there something cuter out there that we should be looking for? But staying on top of that, it's scary to constantly, you know, is the customer happy? Is this what they want? Because just because they buy it doesn't mean that stops there. You know, that it's, the survey continues of, is this what they want? Because we're here for them.
Girl, your customers want you, and we love everything you do. So, okay. So with that being said too, your company, you grew on like, or correct me if I'm wrong, but like, has it been organic and referral based? Like when I was in my office and I was just running out, and I was like, I'm so excited. Like, you know, I'm going to talk to Caitlyn. I'm like, Dental Hygiene Nation. And I like put the post up, and my hygienist, that's a fairly new hygienist, was like, oh my gosh, like I know her stuff. And then someone else piped in. I'm like, I know, you know, because I feel like, you are it. Is that where your sales come from? Did you ever do Facebook ads or any kind of advertising, or is it just through people, like community?
In the beginning, I did some heavy Google ads, like search words and things like that. But that was probably only for the first year when I was operating on my own, because I wasn't sending emails at the time either.
You probably didn't have a list, right, at that point?
Right. And I'm not good at planning like the social media side of it. Like I have a campaign in my head, but as far as putting it into a calendar, that's what I hired my friend Brittany to do. So the first year we did Google AdWords, it was like SEO stuff, and that did pretty well, but I feel like people still were going directly to our website. So I think the biggest referral was from Twitter, to Instagram. So all social referrals.
Yeah.
And we'll dabble with some Facebook ads, but I just think for how niche we are, people probably call me crazy, is I really don't spend money on ads.
Right.
I truly believe in connecting on social, and connecting with my customers is where I'd rather spend my money and time, is creating that content rather than just throwing money in an ad and just being in people's faces all day long.
Right.
I don't like that as a consumer. I'd rather choose to be involved with this brand, and then if I want to know more about them, I will watch them more. Sometimes we'll run ads for holidays and things, but yeah, mostly we do a lot of trade shows. We try to go to a lot of states we can drive to. So that's great. So getting in touch with the customer. But yeah, mostly all of our social has grown organically from just hashtags, comments, and things and people ask, how did you grow to what your Instagram is today? Because we were on Twitter first, before Instagram was even a thing.
Yeah, and I've watched you blow up there for sure. Which I
was still growing. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes. Who's in charge? I mean, do you have a full? Who is in charge? Because I know how much time it takes.
Oh yeah,
that kind of stuff. Especially with engagement and commenting. I mean, I could get lost and go down that rabbit hole, and the whole day would go by. So is there someone specifically on that?
So my friend Courtney, she helps me with the analytics. She's my scientific brain, so she watches more things that are charts. Yeah, she's the chart side. I'm the, does the feed look colorful palette? And she's like, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, yes, it does. So she'll watch the charting of the analytics and make sure we're always increasing. And if we have a dip, we're like, okay, what post wasn't doing well or what was doing well? So you still have to constantly look at good and the bad and keep doing things that are working and take out things that aren't working. And then I still manage and plan all of our content. It's something I love to do. I try to outsource that a little bit to internally, not someone outside. Yeah. But I think the way we grew is something that I saw, finding the content. It's something I feel I'm good at, that I felt, why would I pass that off to somebody? Yes, it does take a lot of time. Courtney helps me do the photo shoots and things. So I might not be taking the photos, but I'm still scheduling the content, finding, people they create my posts. So the funny posts I don't create anymore, but I will provide the wording, the content of, hey, I want this to be a post, make it. So, and especially having that dental background, it's hard to have someone else that isn't in the dental world to know, okay, this would be really engaging to my community. Right. Where I just think it's just something I enjoy doing, and I am good at it. So I mean, our numbers don't lie that our Instagram is pretty fun to be on. Of course. So I'm going to keep doing that, even if it takes me forever. But we have a social media planner, which I'm sure, I think I messaged you a while back to see what you guys were using to plan your Instagram.
So Planoly now,
so do we. Yeah. No, I think I got that from you too. First you were on Trello. Yes. And then
we still use Trello. We still use Trello for a lot, actually. Unfortunately, Trello, I probably have 100 boards. It's sad. We still use that to communicate as a team and drop things because it's visual for me, right? So I like to see. But we had tried all of the other ones, like Hootsuite and all of those, and none of them. They'd always I'd always wake up in a sweat too, oh my gosh, that post didn't go up. Wait a minute, who because we have several accounts, right? And when we had clients as well, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just can't have that. And Planoly's been amazing. So.
Yeah, I love it's really they have an aesthetic of their app too, so it's nice to feel like you're being really professional. It's not some Microsoft Word app that looks bad, so you feel good when you're on it because you feel like you're designing the world, so you're scheduling the world. But I don't know how you schedule for 6 accounts. That I would love to pick your brain on how you manage. Obviously one account is enough for me. Because you're the brain behind the brand too. How do you let go? And then, because you have to at some point, and how do you teach your team the process that you were doing?
Right. I mean, because I have issues. Like I have issues with Instagram where I go away on a trip because they know like all of a sudden my creative's gonna explode and they're like, please don't come back with another Instagram account. And I like even I have issues. I started, Dental Fluence and I was like, this needs to be its own Instagram. So like the people I'm working with, like we can showcase and I have all this vision for all these things, like so we can talk to people about what it's about and stay focused solely on that thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I had the dental diaries, but then when I started the dental diaries podcast, I was like, you know what, I started the website, Dr. Jessica Emery. I'm like, this should be branded as me. This is my family. This is like, literally, that's the daily rollout. So I don't plan the, what was the dental diaries that is now Dr. Jessica Emery.
Yeah.
That is everything, right? Like following me on the daily, those are daily posts, are not planned. And I love that because I love storytelling. So that's like the legacy I want to leave of like my, diary, if you will, which is, we don't do that in photo albums the way we used to. Like in college, when I was in college, we used to use literally I'd have photo albums and photo albums of, our everything. And so now I make chapbooks from my Instagram and like, that's my life. Like, there you go. Because my biggest fear is like that the cloud, if something happened to me today on my way home, like nobody would know like where my stuff is or how to get into the cloud. And my 100,000 photos that are on my phone, and not joking at the number, like everyone's like, what the hell? And I pay for terabytes, but I want my photos like there so I can go back and find and like decide, curated what I want in my grid, what I want to talk about, what I want to bring in, I don't have content in the moment.
It's all inspiration too. I love having all of my I think mine's pretty up there. I don't know if it's 100,000, but my photos are getting up there where I like being able to go. I try to do albums, but it's hard. It's usually just one big album.
Me too. I've tried.
And I'll just scroll like I'm looking for a photo, and then I find like other photos. I'm like, oh, remember we did that?
Yes.
And I get excited. I'm like, oh, that was a really good post. Like then you kind of you like compliment yourself as you go back because it's kind of like seeing old pictures of yourself when you're younger. You're like, oh, look how cute I used to be.
But you know what? To your point, you know what it really does, honestly?
It's like makes you want to be like once you. Oh, sorry, I cut out.
Yeah, that's okay. When you were saying earlier, do you know what it really does is it takes you back to see you evolving. So I love going back and I'm like, oh my God, like look where we are.
Yes.
We were, and it was good. We didn't think it was good. And now like it makes you feel like, cause we get so caught up and not having enough, not being enough, like wanting to grow, which is a good thing. But I love that. Like, I love taking the time. Like, sometimes on airplanes, I'll do that because, like, you can't do anything else. And I go back and I'm like, oh, my God. And then, like, I don't know if it's that you're closer, like, up in the universe, whatever, but I just get this overwhelming feeling of, like, this is amazing, And I'm so incredibly grateful, like, so grateful for where I am and,
It's like a mini COVID up on airplanes. It's like you're forced. Like, you don't have, I mean, you can buy internet, but usually I try not to.
Right.
So I'm forced to just tap into what's in front of me, and typically it's cleaning out my phone, organizing my notes, going through old photos, and it's like my own kind of take back into like time capsule almost.
Memory
that's why I love flying, and because it gives me that time to let my mind wander that I don't usually make time for in the everyday grind. That when I travel, it's part of my favorite part of traveling is the plane ride there, because I don't have to answer anybody. I don't have to be anywhere. I'm on a plane and my mind just goes. And that's like the best recipe for creativity and revelations just start pouring out. And it's just, your brain is amazing when you have that open-ended environment.
Yeah, no interruptions. Do you gift yourself time?
That's been a new struggle. As I look back at the first 3 years of business, I did not. I will admit I did not make time for self-care, and I took some business courses. I got involved in like a women's business group, and they were so good at explaining my whole self and my like knowing like how can you be your best self if you're not taking care of yourself. Just because you're doing a million things a day doesn't mean you're making yourself healthy. And when they said, how can you perform your best for your company, which is my baby and that's my thing I care about most, then I started thinking, I'm doing my company a disservice if I don't take care of myself. Then I realized the value. where before it was time, I don't have time. And I look back and I learned a lot from those first 3 years of, I was reading articles when I was going to the bathroom. Like, it was just constant learning. How do I do this? How do I do that? Like, and now I wouldn't take it back, but I learned so much about what it means to take time away from the phone, to have your mind wander. So now I make time for myself, whether that's going for a run or I've been meditating. I've tried to take baths once a week and stuff, but it's crazy how you have to think about it. You don't even, like, you have to make yourself, like, schedule it like an appointment. And that sounds so crazy, but it's so, so important. And I'm glad I learned that lesson now and not 10 years from now, because I think the entrepreneurship, they call it something, it's like almost a disease of depression amongst entrepreneurs, that you're at high risk because you're running at such high capacity, that it's so common in entrepreneurs to not take care of themselves. They're not eating right. One problem. Right. They don't make time. Most exercise, but some don't. Yeah, no sleep. So it's a recipe for death. I mean, you make this amazing business, and then you don't make time to enjoy it, and two, what's the point if you're just making yourself so unhealthy? It's like not fair to you. Right. So it's crazy, but there's a lot of books on that too.
No, absolutely. I think that's like the number one gift. And for anybody, I think lesson wise, to your point, is to give yourself that gift of time, whatever that might be. You know, for me, for all of these years, I personally have found that I have to check out. I have to if I tried to do it here somewhere, I'm getting box beep. Like, I mean, I could even shut off my phone, but like someone will find me on the path if I go running. I mean, unless I get on an airplane, like, so when I know I'm going for Fort Lauderdale, like Fort Lauderdale has been my place that I have created my, little home away from home, where I know the minute I get on the tarmac, like I'm walking down, my entire body just like the energy just changes and lifts, and I feel it. And when I go down there, like my brain is like pen to paper, no interruptions, the sand, the sea. And I come back with like books of the best ideas. And I have them. It's funny, you reflect back, but those visions, because the intent that you put in, because you're fully present, may not happen in the minute you get back, but like 2 years from now, all of a sudden you find that notebook and you're like, oh my God, like, wow.
I know. I know. And it's journaling is so powerful too. I wish I did more journaling in the beginning of business, but at least I have like those ideas, like I save all my notebooks, all my planners.
Me too.
That it's getting to the point where I want to go down memory lane. It's been long enough that I forgot how I felt in those times. And it's so true. It's like when you go on vacation, not for work, right, but you end up working in a different way, that it's so fun. And it reignites that.
Right. And it makes you better. You come
that
home
intensity.
better. A better person for sure.
How do you leave work? Because when I leave for trips, I get really anxious because I feel like I can't get it all done before I leave, and I want to be on vacation and not have to worry about work. How do you prepare yourself to like set all that aside and totally give yourself a full-time vacation and leaving work per se at home?
Well, this comes with age and time. And I'm telling you, because we are so dialed in, like perfectionists and all that, like I have had to learn to let go. Because at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It's really not. And things aren't going to fail and fall. Like I said, you're going to learn from them. You're going to move on. And to let go and realize as well that our teams can really carry us. And when you have strong teams that support you, they're going to pick it up and run with it, because they want us to have that time as much as they know. Like we know we need it. Like they know we need it. And we're going to come back that much better for them, So I've really been able to, fortunately, like, to let things go a lot more than I would have when, and we're talking, I mean, this is years in.
It probably is just as simple as that. Like nothing's going to explode in 1 week or 2 weeks,
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, as long as somebody is like on email or whatever, that can write back to somebody and say, you know what, I think as long as someone is answered to that, to say like, hey, she's actually away, I will get the answer for you as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And someone's responded to, then they're good. And I think that they understand. I mean, it's life, like, you know what I mean? That we're in, but you would never feel like you had the vacation, right? If you didn't shut off. And
right. And I've done that before, where I still would send campaigns from vacation, and that's a problem. I don't mind doing that, but at the same time, I'm not giving myself a full time off. Just because I don't mind doing it doesn't mean it's right to do.
Right.
So that's been tough to not stay in touch while I'm away.
Well, as a business owner though, so like I'm just thinking about February, we were down in Grand Cayman, and I got a call from, it was crazy. I knew I was going to New Orleans to this conference, but I didn't know that I was going to be speaking there until I got a call, and it was like, well, okay, so what are you going to be talking about in your 2 hours at like different times on the different days? And I was like, what? Like it wasn't, it kind of brought to my attention. So, and then they said, and we're giving you a booth. And this was like the first time I've ever had a booth, and I've got my thing. So this is when, so you can appreciate this. It wasn't the speaking, because I knew I could get that done, right? And step into that and create whatever, the decks and everything when I got back. It was more like, oh my God, it was like 2 weeks away. And I was like, I need t-shirts. Did I even contact you then for t-shirts? I did. Yeah. I asked you for your t-shirt.
Oh no, yeah, you said, what do I do? Yeah.
I was in a panic spin. I told my husband to take the kids to like the turtle farm to go somewhere. And I remember in my bikini, pacing the beach, calling every vendor everywhere, my printer, getting things like designed and made for those little pull downy things that go behind the table.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Vinyl things, and like printouts. And of course I wanted little swag bags that were like filled with like little smiley face pens. I'm like, we're going to have a booth that's going to be a damn good, I want to show up. I don't want it to be like pens someone throws on it. That's not me.
Right.
And I'm like, this is an amazing opportunity. But that entire vacation I spent working, and I know the kids would be like, mommy, whatever. But at the same time, this is real life. And sometimes when you own a business, you have to step in and do the thing. And so that was a huge opportunity for me. And I was like, I'm going to seize this and take it. And so, like I said, I did. And that vacation it was still amazing and good, but a little bit of a wash and for memory wise, but kids have to understand too, that this stuff takes hard work. And I think it looks good for them as well.
True. Very true. Yeah. It's like, and then you have to know when you have to sacrifice that time. And like you said, like it was an opportunity, seizing opportunities. Sometimes you can't pass up, and sometimes you have to, but sometimes in your gut, you just know I have to do this right now. And that's, I think, the sacrifice of a business owner really is that might happen while you're on vacation, that a vacation might not be a full vacation every time.
And to your point with gut, there was something that happened then later during COVID where I was asked to be in a online big kind of virtual conference for social media or digital and marketing or whatever. And it was all in dentistry, all of the big like digital dental companies. And I had to sit in my head and think, but wait a minute, I'm just this little I'm just doing my thing and not taking into consideration like everything I've built, right? And having clients and doing social media. And we've made a lot of pivots because I've been trying to figure out exactly, and this is what happens in business, right? Where you want to land and be and how you can best serve. But it came to the point where I didn't have my team members. I was kind of in it. I was like running through the jungle with like a big machete, cutting my path. I was learning how to like get in on Stripe when someone clicked purchase twice and refund. And I learned all of the things, and I'm so grateful that I did, but I knew because I was so overwhelmed in a great way with everybody, but I was taking care of everyone, that when they asked me to do that and they're like, we need X, Y, and Z, like A to Z, I was like, I can't, no matter, I knew it was an opportunity. I felt like I should have done it, but something in my gut said no. My gut said, you know what, there will be another opportunity and it's not the time. And so I backed away. And in the moment, I was a little bit upset with myself, but then like I said, it passed and I never looked back. So it's really listening to your intuition of what and typically your intuition will never lead you wrong, because when you step in, no matter what the circumstances, that is when things, you know, all of a sudden that's a tipping point for you. And it's the right thing. So
yeah, because if you go into it without the right mindset too, you're going to resent it the entire time, and then you're going to procrastinate and you're not going to do your best. So you might as well just cut that off in the beginning if you're feeling not passionate about it. And my sister was just yelling at me for this earlier today. We have a family farm down the street with a pool, and she's like, I have to check it Monday through Wednesday, and she checks it Thursday through Saturday. And I'm not passionate about checking the pool. So she's like, I know when you're not passionate about something because you just don't do it. So it's true in so many aspects. When you're not passionate about something, and as long as you're not hurting somebody in the end, but your mind will follow what you're passionate about. And if you're not, your mind will show you that in many ways, that you will, you'll procrastinate and you won't perform. So you have to acknowledge that in the beginning and know that that's okay to say no. And that's not easy to do.
Right.
But it's crazy to learn that lesson, and it never fails.
Totally. Well, what was so hard about that lesson for me was I remember that night with my husband vividly, because I was like, the reason why I was upset was because I would have been the only one on the panel that was a dentist, speaking to the why behind dentists needing the marketing and the social media and understanding, like you understand, you know, Instagram. I'm a fee-for-service practice. I've grown my practice and can do what I do through literally people making those buying decisions for veneer cases through social media. Like, I know because I've done it. And so I felt like it was my duty to be speaking to dentists versus people trying to be salesy, not to say, but I don't like that. And I didn't want that. So I wanted to speak from the heart and like give them, you know, my story. And so that was the hard part. But then again, I was like, I'm aligning myself with a lot of other like salesy things that don't feel like they're aligning with me, you know, done, just not happening. I'll get my message out another way.
Right. And that's exactly it. Like, there might be another opportunity that comes, and you have to look at it as, well, like, maybe it'll circle back, you know?
Right. Yeah, totally. My gosh, I could like talk to you like all night long.
I know. It's like, I wish we were, well, I haven't, a lot of our trade shows have been canceled, so I haven't. Wait, say that again, you cut out.
No, I was going to say, like, I know somewhere, like if you came, I think one time you were in Chicago, it was like a snowy weekend or something. And I was traveling.
Yeah, I think you were away, and when I'm in Chicago, I don't always, the board review that we go to, they're outside of Chicago, but that year I was actually staying at a friend's house in Chicago. So I looked up your office. I'm like, wonder where it's at. I should totally just drop in. And then I know how busy you are that I wanted to check in first to see if you were there. But next time I'm just going to drop in, even if you're not there.
I love it. I love
practice.
Drop-ins are good. I love them. Is there anything like we didn't, because like I said, I could go on and be thinking forever, like anything you want to touch on that you would love to share about like your journey, or anything that we didn't kind of tap into for all the women out there? I guess to wrap it up too, like people obviously are familiar with Dental Hygiene Nation. If you're not, my gosh, like you missed the boat. No, I'm just kidding. But like for real, your company is literally like my absolute favorite. And you never cease to amaze me with the things you have. I mean, I actually, and I was just like, gosh, I should get online, because I get so busy. I haven't been online, and then talking to you, it's like, oh, I've got to get on. And then I just go crazy. And you've been so kind and so nice. Like, we've been able to showcase your product, like everything you've done. You've allowed me, like through the dentist I've done photo shoots with, we put in your t-shirts, because I love everything about them, everything.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And honestly, anytime you need, we have so many, even, out of season products that if you ever need stuff, I can always donate them to you guys too, just because I'm getting so much brand awareness from your soiree stock, or your dentist using the apparel in their photo shoots. So I'm still getting so much awareness, and you inspire me that I would love to help and just help you with products. I know how props can be. Sometimes it's hard to find props, and they add up too. So.
I know for sure. All of those bins back there are props. I know it's like props for for days. I've been better about them. Well, probably because of COVID, like I wasn't out shopping and doing all the things.
Yeah.
But, yes, I love everything. And like I said, you keep coming up with new things. We have a workshop coming. So I'm going to behind the scenes talk to you about what you all have, so I can figure out for our guests coming, what we can do for their fun swag, because I love all of your fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad to be a part of your journey too.
Thank you so much. So how do people find you? You want to just do your...
Yeah. So to find us, you can go to dentalhygienation.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at DTHY Nation. Twitter, you can find us at dental or DTHY problems. That's where we kind of talk about the funny stuff of dentistry. But mostly on Instagram, and then Facebook would be to search Dental Hygiene Nation, and always look for our gold tooth.
Our gold tooth. I know no one can see it, but I've got it right here with my koozie. Be the gold tooth. That is what, right? Be the gold tooth, I thought.
Yeah. That was a campaign we ran a couple years ago now. Yeah.
So I've taken it and I run with it now. So like,
I love it. I love it. That's what it's meant for.
Yes. All right. Be the gold tooth, everybody. Thank you, Caitlyn. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.